That tends to happen every year. What I'm talking about is someone who is not playing in Europe, someone who's playing somewhere else, being in the top 10 of any Ballon d'Or votings. It usually doesn't happen a lot that if you supported Santos, you loved him, and if you didn't support Santos, you ended up hating him. But it's as they say, it's better to love me or hate me than to ignore me. And Neymar couldn't be ignored. Everyone had their eyes on Neymar. Now, I'm not one of those people that believes that Neymar is wasted potential. I have highlighted in other videos why I believe that Neymar has done amazing things in his career. But I'm just saying, when you look at what Neymar's career has become, the injuries that have plagued him going to Saudi Arabia to play for Al Hilal, it's not what we thought of Neymar, or at least where Neymar would be in his career after Ronaldo and Messi would have left Europe. But nonetheless, when you think about Neymar, one of his best years, one of his most impressive years, and the year where most of us found out about Neymar and how great of a talent he was the 2011 season. So in today's video, I want to delve a bit deeper into the 2011 season, why it was so special, and how Neymar was able to put the world on notice on who he was and that he was here to stay. When talking about Neymar's 2011 season, I think that it's very important to highlight who Neymar was doing it for, which team he was doing it for in Brazil, and just the historical importance that Santos held at the time. Now, we all know about Pelé, and for the longest time, especially before Ronaldo and Messi came into the world stage and just absolutely exceeded everyone's expectations and set new standards. For a lot of people, Pelé was the GOAT. It was this massive debate between Maradona and Pelé, but for a lot of people, Pelé was the GOAT. And for a lot of Brazilians, you couldn't tell them otherwise. You couldn't tell them that Pelé, especially the true football fans, you couldn't tell them that Pelé wasn't the greatest football player of all time. And Pelé started his career at Santos, and Santos is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, football club in Brazil. So for Neymar coming up through the ranks for Santos, Neymar displaying the talent that he had, a lot of people looked at Neymar as kind of like the chosen one, the one that was going to come and be the next Pelé and hopefully take Santos back to the glory days. And of course, we're talking about Neymar. It's not just his goals and assists that are impactful and that help teams to win trophies. With Neymar, it's a bit more, and this is why players like Vinicius Jr. kind of bring back this magic element back to football. Players like Ronaldinho, the way Neymar plays, the joy he played with, the audacity, the fact that he was so young and he was not scared to just rainbow flick whoever. He was not scared to score a goal and just start doing his little dances. That if you supported Santos, you loved him, and if you didn't support Santos, you ended up hating him. But it's as they say, it's better to love me or hate me than to ignore me. And Neymar couldn't be ignored. Everyone had their eyes on Neymar. In this channel, I like to use stats to highlight the points that I make. I don't just want to throw stats at you and throw different numbers at you just to make myself seem smart. But I like to use stats to highlight the picture or to highlight a point that I'm making. And again, the point that I'm making here is how impressive Neymar was in 2011 and how he took that next step towards being what a lot of Brazilians considered the chosen one, the next Pelé at Santos. And when you look at this season, when Neymar played 45 games, he contributed with 33 goal contributions. And this was Neymar's way to put the world on notice on who he was and the fact that he was here to stay. And as the saying goes on the sports side of YouTube, stats for the sake of stats do not mean anything. Neymar can score as many goals and get as many assists as he wants. If he does not translate this into wins, it does not matter. However, this was the thing. This was again why a lot of people were so excited about Neymar being the chosen one this season, is the fact that Neymar not only put up these numbers, but he also helped Santos to go on to win the Copa Libertadores. And in doing so, Neymar also ended up being the South American Player of the Year. And I just want to highlight how old Neymar was at the time. Neymar was still a teenager at the time, and he was leading Santos towards winning the Copa Libertadores, towards being the greatest team in South America. And as if this wasn't enough, and as if Neymar winning the Copa Libertadores, being the Player of the Year, putting up amazing numbers, earning the hearts of millions of football fans around the world, if this wasn't enough, Neymar also ended this year being in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or votings. Now, for a lot of you, being in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or votings may just be a nice stat, just another stat that I can throw at you, but I really want you to think about what this means. How often do we see players outside of Europe being in the Ballon d'Or votings, let alone in the top 10 or top 5? I'm not talking about South American or Asian or African players being in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or votings, playing in Europe. That tends to happen every year. What I'm talking about is someone who is not playing in Europe, someone who's playing somewhere else, being in the top 10 of any Ballon d'Or votings. It usually doesn't happen a lot. I don't know how many times this has happened, but from what I have seen, this is the only time that a player outside from Europe has been in this Ballon d'Or votings. It becomes even more impressive when you realize that that player that done it was only a teenager, and when you realize that player that done it was a teenager that a lot of Brazilians were hailing as the next Pele. Just the amount of pressure Neymar was under at the time was ridiculous, and he delivered. And again, this is why this 2011 season, even though in the 2012 season Neymar put up better numbers, even though in the 2013 season Neymar went to Barcelona and put up amazing numbers again, this season 2011 is where I think the magic of Neymar really started. And it doesn't just end there. Remember, at the start of the video, I told you that a lot of players in the past have put up amazing numbers. A lot of players in the past have taken Brazilian teams towards winning the Copa Libertadores. A lot of these players were hailed as the next Pele and etc., but it was a bit different with Neymar. Neymar was also able to win the Puskas Award, and usually I don't really cover the Puskas Award. I don't really care. Yes, people can score nice goals, but again, for a teenager to be winning this outside of Europe is really impressive. And the goal that Neymar scored, I don't know if I can play the video right now because it might get copyrighted, but I'll surely put up some pictures. And I feel like most football fans know what goal I'm talking about. What Neymar did in that goal, taking players on, flipping the ball across the goalkeeper, going past 3-4 defenders. The way Neymar constructed this goal was just amazing. And again, it's that magic, that flair, the excitement that Neymar brought to the beautiful game. That's why so many people were rallying up behind Neymar and hailing him as the next Pele. He was putting up the numbers, he was helping the team to win, he was being recognized internationally, and on top of that, he had that magic, that little bit of dust that just made everything even better. I've said this before in this video, I've said this before in other videos, but I'll keep saying it. I'm not really a big fan of what has happened to Neymar towards the end of his career. I believe that a lot of the things that are happening right now in Neymar's career, all the injuries and etc., him going to Saudi Arabia, a lot of this is Neymar's fault because he could have worked harder to stop some of these things from happening. Now, you can't control your injuries, but again, when we're talking about the greatest players of all time, the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Messi, even at this age of like 40 and 37 that Messi and Ronaldo are in now, these guys, they don't usually get injured that much, but Neymar is like every single time he comes back, he'll come back for 2 months and then he'll get injured. And this is why I didn't want to talk about Neymar in a negative note. I didn't want to talk about Neymar in a negative light. Again, I wanted to make a video to celebrate Neymar, to celebrate his career, to celebrate the year that a star was born, from Santos to the world stage to eventually being one of the greatest players of all time. In my opinion, a top 10 greatest player of all time. If we're talking about attackers, Neymar, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 attackers of all time. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching the video to the end. Please let me know in the comments what you guys think of Neymar's 2011 season and his other season. Should I make more videos on Neymar's? Should I make more videos on Neymar's individual seasons like the 2012 season? Let me know in the comments. As per usual, guys, I appreciate you watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share. Do all these things to please help me grow this channel, and I'll see you soon.